I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm eating and I don't want to
Okay,
distract everybody with that. So
cool. Look at all these people, Mr. Page.
we're getting a full class here.
We're getting there.
9. That's big.
Okay, those of you popping in who have not been here as much, we usually wait for a little while to see how many more people get here because we're coming off some people's lunches. So you guys can hear me, right? Just checking. Okay. Make sure and count all you guys present. See if there's lives coming in. All right. Thanks. Couple more minutes here. Shelby and Tommy, I know you guys aren't as used to being here, but in general, I count participation for being here and having your video on, and you're just a little tiny square. So hope you can do that soon. Okay, and there's Logan. This might be a record. I bet Issa will be here in a sec too. Good to see you, Tommy. Thank you. Hey, Shelby. What's that artist's last name? Knobber? Knobber? You guys ever heard the song Don't Mine at Night? It's either about not playing Minecraft all night during the pandemic, or it's a metaphor that I don't understand. Not that anybody's staying up all night playing Minecraft, right? What a waste of time. Who would do that, right? We're all so busy with so many things to do during the pandemic, especially over the summer, right? You had way too much to do, didn't you? Never bored. I'm trying to wait on Issa here, but we probably ought to get started soon. So I will try to watch for him coming in. All right, give me a sec here to get my screen straight. All right, here we go. So those who aren't always here, what we do is kind of talk through today's agenda, many people probably already looked at it. Maybe some people have already started to work on some stuff that's on there. Some of it is reminders, some of it is new assignments. It's just because you see 3 or 4 things on here does not mean that you're getting 3 or 4 new things per day. It's just I give reminders about vocab, about grammar, about literature, and about writing every day, just so everybody always knows what's going on. But in general, you have a few days to do each thing, even these routine things like vocab and grammar, which you guys have probably picked up on anyway, even if you're just reading these. All right, so vocab lesson 5. We're starting a new series of 3 vocab lessons. Please complete lesson 5 by Thursday night and turn in to the assignment post. And there that is right there. Okay, it's good to go. Got that thing in there. Okay, somebody's already done it. Cool. Grammar, lesson 7 that was posted yesterday is due by tomorrow night. There's that there. I already have 7 people who turned that in. That's cool. People are working ahead. And then finally, we do not have any writing going on right now because we're fresh in the quarter. We finished our personal narrative. We will eventually be working on the problem solution research paper this quarter, which means you'll pick an issue that's going on, hopefully kind of semi-locally. And there sure are a whole lot of issues going on right now, controversial issues. Probably be another perfectly good reason to write about something about the pandemic, mask wearing, anything like that. I don't want to get too far into it now, but just to let you know, that's what'll be going on with writing eventually this quarter. Probably maybe get started on it next week. Not kind of push that up against the end of the first quarter like I had to first quarter because it was so short. So mainly what we have today is that you hopefully turned in the Act 4 study guide last night, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on for sure. That's been checked, so we're going to review in class, and then I will be posting materials for Act 5 by the end of the day. I think I'm going to give you until Sunday night to finish that rather than try to squeeze it in for Friday. If anybody needs to kind of finish catching up on this part and really make sure everybody finishes so we can have a good kind of concluding discussion about that. I've not put it up yet, but I will. All right, I'm going to come off my screen share here. Actually, no, I'm going to go back to it. Sorry. While I'm doing that, if you guys can multitask, if you can access the responses that you had on the study guide that I'm about to go over. So it's not just me here talking and you guys can earn more participant points. I really keep track of it. Oh, you can't see with that reflection, can you? Okay. I'm really marking it every time you speak. I'm marking points. And we're starting at an 80 instead of an 85 since we have a whole quarter here. Okay, so everybody's got an 80 right now. I'm not putting the grade book yet, but that's where we start, and I'll update it every week, and it helps every time you raise your hand and share. All right, so let's see. Back into Romeo and Juliet Act 4, and let's open that study guide. Here we go. So first we have this key passage about avoiding a second marriage, and Juliet says, "Tell me not, friar, that thou hearest of this, unless thou tell me how I may prevent it. If in thy wisdom thou canst give no help, do thou but call my resolution wise, and with this knife I'll help it presently." In other words, she's saying, don't tell me I have to marry Paris. Don't tell me you can't get me out of this, or I'm going to take my own life, right? We've heard talk like this from both of them before, right? God joined my heart and Romeo's. Thou our hand, you joined our hands, you married us. And before this hand, and thee to Romeo sealed, shall be the label to another deed, or my true heart with treacherous revolt turn to another. This shall slay them both. This, the knife, right, shall slay them both, right? The hatred that's causing this, right, in the marriage that I would otherwise have to go through with. Therefore, out of thy long experience time, she's still talking to the friar, give me some present counsel, tell me what to do. Or behold, between my extremes and this bloody knife shall play the umpire, personifying the knife. The knife will solve all this, arbitrating that which the commission of thy years in art could to no issue of true honor bring. Be not long to speak. Please tell me what to do. I long to die of what thou speakest. If you can't solve this, not of remedy. Remedy is like fixing something, right? If you can't fix this, then this knife is gonna, right? That's dark stuff. So Juliet's responding to the friar's statement that he's already heard the news of her upcoming marriage to Paris. So she asks the friar, who already married her to Romeo, to help her out of this predicament. If he can't, rather, she says, she'll take her own life rather than marry Paris. So, do we think that Juliet's threats of suicide appropriately reflect the desperation of her situation, or they indicate a tendency toward overreaction and melodrama that she shares with Romeo? Now, that's a lot of big words, right? But it's basically just asking, do you think that she is overreacting or not? Do you think this is overly dramatic and irrational? Or do you think that with everything that's going on, that it's understandable that she feels that way. So whether you filled that out in the study guide or not, and I'm still having a lot of trouble getting people to do that, although more people did it than before. Somebody tell me, what do you think? At least tell me, overreacting or understandable? Chat or unmute yourself. Either is fine. Surely you have some opinion. Here we go. Logan says, oh, we got all kinds of chat here. You guys are all typing. Logan says overreacting, ridiculous. Cami says, I felt like she was being overdramatic. Okay. Ethan, agreeing, I guess that means. Shelby says, understandable. Thank you, Shelby. Okay. Shelby thinks, all right, this is understandable. Well, you can argue that, right? I mean, we could definitely think to ourselves, well, I would never do that, right? But with everything she's been through and who she is and the situation that she's in, understandable because of everything, says Matthew Mikes. Okay. Ethan saying, my bad. I don't know why. Is that for the lines before? I just assume you meant like quotation marks, like agree with what was said before. Okay, so we're kind of divided here. Nobody's wrong, nobody's right. Right? You could argue it either way. It depends on whether you sympathize with them or not, right? Did they get themselves into this? Then you're probably thinking, oh, they're overreacting, you know, or are you kind of rooting for them, even though you know they're going to make it, and you think it's understandable that they would feel that way. You can argue it either way. Okay, let's go back to the study guide. Just like to hear your thoughts. That's what those are for. All right, first question was when Juliet, have you guys accessed your questions? You got these handy so we can talk or chat? I like voices the best. I'm just letting you know. But I do need to pause here and give people some pluses for throwing in on the chat. Okay. This shall slay them both. What is she referring to? What is this and what is the both? Support your answer with evidence from the text. We just kind of talked about that, right? So the indefinite pronoun this, right? First of all, what's that? What's this? Let me kind of see if I can get you guys on a grid where I can see you here. Chat. Yes, good, Logan. Thank you. That's the knife. Not the knife is this. Good. She's saying this knife shall slay them both. And like we just talked about, that's, you know, the hatred and the misery that she's going through and the proposed marriage to Paris. Both of those would be killed if she killed herself, right? Okay, and we just looked at that scene. I don't think we need to look at any more direct evidence there. Still struggling with my screens here. Okay, second question is, when Juliet offers a fake apology to her father, there we go. She notes that she has been instructed by the friar to fall prostrate here. Explain the double meaning of Juliet's statement here. Some of these questions kind of tricky here, right? How does that kind of mean two different things? To fall prostrate would mean to fall in front of him being apologetic, right? Now she is doing that. She seems to be, right? But what do we know? Is she really sorry? Is she really going to marry Paris? No, she's not, because she's got the plan, right? With the friar, she's going to take that stuff. It's going to make her seem like she's dead, right? So through dramatic irony, we kind of know. Back to chat again here. She isn't sorry. Good, yeah. So as dramatic irony, we know that she's not sorry, right? But then she is actually going to fall prostrate in a different way, isn't she? She's going to fall seeming like she is what? Nothing wrong with voices. When she takes the stuff from the friar, what is it? What is she going to seem like has happened? You guys understand the friar's plan? You getting this? Can anybody tell us about the friar's plan, just to kind of review that, make sure we all understand? She takes something that makes it seem like she's dead, right? They put her in the tomb. Romeo Friar lets Romeo know, right? He comes and gets her. They run off together. That was the end of Act 3, right? So she's definitely going to fall, right, in her father's house, and she's going to seem like she's dead. She's not going to, even though she seems like she's falling prostrate, apologetic to him and saying, yeah, I'll marry Paris. Everything's fine, right? I'm sorry. We know better, right? Dramatic irony almost makes us giggle, right, with what we know and what the characters don't know. All right, down to number 3. What are Juliet's 3 particular fears in the moments before she takes the poison? Let's go to that in the text here. Give me just a sec. While we're getting there, what is kind of significant about when Lady Capulet and the nurse leave the room? Are you talking, Cami? Because you're muted. Once again to the chat. She thinks, okay, you're already getting into the fears. Okay, so that's good. But I'm asking a separate question here. Like, what's the significance of Lady Capulet and the nurse like leaving the room? What does that moment represent? This is like her mother and her like kind of other mother, basically, right? No one knows? What does she say right here? Look on my screen share. And she says that out loud to them, right? But that's literal. She means that, right? She's never going to see them again. If the plan works, she's never going to see them again. If the plan doesn't work, that'll mean she's dead, and she won't see them again either. Okay. All right. Now let's get back to the question. She wonders if it's poison. She thinks it might not work. It might kill her. What if it does work? What else could go wrong in the tomb? I'm watching chat here. I'm going to try to get to it. Here we go. What if it be poison, right? What about, let's see. About this here. What else is she scared of there in that text? It could work and she could wake up, but then what? If Romeo doesn't get there, yeah, it might suffocate. She's not actually in a coffin, so a tomb. Yeah, she might get trapped. Good, Liam. Yeah, so a tomb is more of like an open. It's a big room, right, where bodies are laid out or maybe kept. Maybe has like some kind of like big stone wall doorway or something like that. But she might be sealed in there, might suffocate. Tybalt's dead bodies probably like sitting over there. It'd be like totally nightmarish, right? So you on some level. I don't know whether we want to call her brave, depending on how you think about what she's doing, but what she's doing does take a lot of courage, right? And so she's trying to make herself, like work herself up to being able to do that. Okay, back to the study guide again. For what Juliet's nurse makes sexual jokes throughout the play. What's an example of such a comment from Act 4, Scene 5? Did you guys get that? It's not terribly important. I think it's kind of funny that they put that on the study guide, but the nurse is always being inappropriate and weird. So I guess that's kind of an example of that. She says he'll fright you up in faith, right? So she basically makes a joke about, this all may hurt, but there's something else that's going to hurt when you finally join with Romeo. And I'll just leave that to your imagination. So we'll move on to number 5. Finally, what does Juliet's father mean when he says all things change them to the contrary? Support your answer with evidence from the text. Okay, now this is when, is that a hand there, Ethan? This is when they discover her supposed dead body, right? And it's a really weird scene because the friar knows that she's not actually dead, right? So there's a lot of dramatic irony there. And of course, the nurse freaks out. The parents come in, they're freaking out. Their daughter's dead without explanation, out of the blue. They kind of Get down to where he says that. Famous lines here. Death lies on her like an untimely frost upon the sweetest flower of all the field. You know, in the spring, flowers come out, but then you get like a mid-April frost or something, and it kills the flowers that bloomed. Always really sad. So he's comparing her death to that because she's so young, like a flower in the spring. He personifies death, that like instead of marrying Paris, he still doesn't know about Romeo, that she married Death. Death is my son-in-law, right? And I'm trying to get to that line. I think it's on the next page here. There we go. All things that we ordained festival turn from their office to black funeral, our instruments to melancholy bells, our wedding cheer to a sad burial feast, our solemn hymns to sullen dirges change, our bridal flowers serve for a buried corpse. All things change them to the contrary. So what's he saying? All of these good things that were supposed to happen. I've got a chat answer here. Everything is going the opposite as expected. That's perfect. Good job, Logan. Liam says, everything is going to be the opposite of what they were supposed to be used to. Yes, good job. Yeah. It's like sometimes you feel like no matter what I do, everything is turning sour. Everything is turning to the opposite of what's supposed to. Everything is getting ruined and he can't understand why. And we know why, right? Because there's a plot that's working against what he wants. And we may or may not have any sympathy for him after he kind of blew up at Juliet and threatened to kick her out. He did seem like he cared about her before that. But this is kind of weird and sad that they think their daughter is dead. And it is kind of questioning. We might even question the friar's ethics and morals in pulling this off when he's sitting there trying to comfort them and he knows that she's actually alive. It's a weird scene, right? Okay, minimize that chat there. Thank you for all that participating. Chat is better than nothing. Yeah, okay, I'll let you guys go. We went over the assignments and everything. Really good to see some more of you here. Please keep coming every day. And Act 5 stuff will be up soon, but it's not due till Sunday. Tommy, Shelby, good to see you. Keep coming. Bye, guys.